Good evening, viewers. Welcome again to this edition of the State of Emergency. My name is Mr. Metaphysics, and I want to talk about the state of emergency in which the Igbo businesses are in Lagos. It calls for a state of emergency, the state of the Igbo people in Nigeria, most especially or more especially in Lagos at this time, with reference to their businesses. So you see, what's going on in Lagos now is the state has singled out a tribe out of the state's bigotry, out of the people in Lagos's the Yoruba bigotry, or not all Yorubas, but some Yorubas, their bigotry against the Igbo people, their jealousy and envy for Igbo businesses that are prospering in Nigeria, most especially in Lagos. And what this government is doing is demolishing Igbo businesses. And prior to this time in 2023, they promised the Igbo people that since the Igbos did not vote for them, vote for the the presidency of Bola Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, that is the party APC. Since the Igbos did not vote for them, they were going to deal with the Igbos. In fact, the wife of the president came out saying this clearly in Yoruba, that they were going to deal with the Igbos, they were going to take their properties. And really, they are delivering on this promise now. What has been going on in Lagos is that the Lagos State's government has been marking Igbo houses or Igbo properties as illegal all over Lagos. Wherever Igbo property is, they will find a way to say it is illegal. If they don't say there is a oil pipe close to it, they will say it's not in the plan of Lagos, or the documents were not correct, or not correct, or there is a court order. Of course, you know the court order in Nigeria. Somebody just won an election in Nigeria, and the opposition clearly said, go to courts, because they know that in the courts, those who don't win will win. That's how Nigerian legal system is. It's very corrupt. And so whenever you hear court order, you just know it's a way of saying they are seizing your property by corruption. So what the government is doing is demolishing buildings that belongs to Igbo people, and most especially Igbo businesses, not just buildings where they live, but also the businesses where they trade. Now, sometimes they can't demolish the businesses where they trade because the house where they trade may not belong to an Igbo person. Now, what the government does is to set fire on those businesses. They are setting fires not just on businesses, but private businesses, but trade fairs that were built by the government. They set fire on it because they know full well that the people who sell in those trade fairs are mainly the Igbo tribe. This is what is going on in Nigeria right now. But worst of all is that right now, the demolition is not just with payloaders and bulldozers or with caterpillars. Now, some thugs also have taken it upon themselves to choose houses they so desire, and then come and they come with the big hammers and start demolishing the houses, even without court order. The sad part of it is that the Igbo people have become so complacent, so much like sheep without shepherd, that all they can do is to cry and video the demolition of their homes, destruction of their shop and properties, to the extent that they can't save even their property while their house is being demolished. They can't even save their goods while their shop is being demolished. But in some cases, the shop wouldn't even be demolished. By 4 a.m., 3 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning, their shops are set on fire when they were sleeping, while they are still sleeping. This calls for state of emergency for Igbo people. You don't need a native doctor. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you that these demolitions are planned. You don't need somebody to tell you these fires are arson. These fires are not accidents. These fires are deliberately set on your businesses. You can see it repeating itself over and over again over the years. The Igbo people have an adage that says it's only a tree that they will tell that they're going to come and cut it, and the tree will keep standing. If somebody tells you they're going to kill you, why will you keep on standing on the way? Move. Move your property, move your goods. Find a way. At least resist. Why do people so sheepishly stand there praying to God to come and save you? Or videoing the demolition of your shop or your house, crying? At least fight them back. The point is that Igbo businesses are so sweet. Igbo businesses, raiding Igbo businesses or Igbo houses or Igbo property is so delicious to those who do that. That's why they keep on doing it. If you can make it a little bit bitter for them, then they will think twice. I'll give you an example from nature. We have this cassava, two main species of cassava in Nigeria. One that thrives in the north and another that thrives in the south. Now, in the north, in the southern part of Nigeria or southeast, due to the nature of the rainforest and the pests that feeds on the cassava in the southeast, the southwest, developed a poison, so developed a poison. I can't remember the name of the poison right now. It's an acid that the animals that used to eat on it can't feed on it anymore because of the poison. Whereas the cassava in the north don't have that same poison because they don't have those rodents that feeds on it. So the same thing with bitter leaf, the leaf we call bitter leaf in Nigeria. Bitter leaf in Nigeria is bitter among the Igbo people. But if you cross from Nigerian Igbo to Cameroon Igbo, we have Igbos in Cameroon or some relatives of Igbos in Cameroon. Remember, during the NCNC of Nigerians and the Cameroon, Nigeria decided to wheel the Igbos of Cameroon on the boundary of Cameroon towards Cameroon so that the Igbos can lose the election, if you remember. Anyway, not to talk about that. We'll talk about the bitter leaf in Cameroon side. That bitter leaf on that side of Cameroon is not attacked by pests. And so the bitter leaf in Cameroon is sweet because it has no pests that attacks it. Whereas the bitter leaf in Nigeria has a lot of diseases that attack it, and so it has to be bitter. So since it became bitter, the pests don't attack it. Same thing with the cassava. Since the cassava has poison, the pests don't attack it anymore. What I'm trying to say, if the Igbos do not develop some kind of venom, some kind of poison, some kind of power, some kind of protection for their businesses, they are just wasting their time. Because this will continue on and on and on. And nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming to save the Igbos. You have to save yourself. The Igbo people have to stand up and have some form of security outfit to protect their business. This is not the first time something like this is happening. It has happened to the African American people in the United States. In fact, what is happening in Nigeria right now clearly demonstrates the way the African American people fought and survived the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan. Back in the days, the Ku Klux Klan will raid a prosperous black business person, set fire on their house, set fire on their business, and put a burning cross in front of their house. You know those movies. That's what the Igbos are facing through right now. But the African Americans were able to find a way to use whatever system, like Malcolm X would say, by any means necessary, or some other person say by any means possible, or some other person say by non-violence. But by any means necessary, they were able to resist those racist Ku Klux Klan people who tried all the way to eliminate the African American people. So the Igbo people must take a lead, learn from the African Americans. How did they survive the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 40s? How did they survive after slavery? How did the African Americans survive? How do they build the Black Wall Street? How did they survive in many ways? If the Igbos can learn this, then they will thrive. Then they will be able to defend their businesses, because it's either your home will be destroyed and your business will be set on fire. And then when after the fire, your property will be confiscated, and they will give it they'll sell it to the Chinese, or they sell it to those people who have helped Bola Ahmed Tinubu to win the election. Those people will share the properties. Those are the people that are benefiting from your business being burned, from your houses being demolished. The president's wife said it clearly. She said, we are going to enjoy or reap what you have suffered for. People celebrate this. So what I don't understand is how the Igbo people kept quiet. I'm not talking about Igbo leaders. We already know. We already can see the Igbo leaders, Igbo governors are in bed with these people because they want power. They want to come back with second tenure. Some of them want to be senators. Some of them want to be president. So the Igbo leaders, all the states are already compromised. We understand that. But what I'm saying is the civilian, the people whose businesses are being destroyed, the ordinary people. You can't just stand and look. No, that's your sweat. You can't just cry. What were you crying for? What? Crying like a baby? Cry for who to come and help you. At least bite those men. Use your teeth if you have no weapon. Use your teeth and bite them. Use your fingernails to scratch on them. Fight them back. This is your life. Why would people be so docile and watching their property being demolished by other human beings like you? The Igbo people have to stand up and defend themselves. Organize yourself. Organize yourself into vigilante. It's your livelihood that is being destroyed. If this was happening any other place in Africa, there would have been a riot. There would have been a big crisis. How is it? Is it church that has done this to you, that made you so docile? It's just stupidity. It's just foolishness. It's you not knowing what your right is, what your power is. You have become slaves in your own country. You have become slaves in your own land. That people will just come, destroy everything you worked for all your life. But anyway, this is a wake-up call. This is a lesson for us, the Igbos, to know that it's not enough that people will hate you. It will not even be enough that they will take all your property, but they will not relent until they destroy your life, until you cease to exist. They will take everything that belongs to you, and then you will cease to exist. That's the only time they will relent. They will never relent. They will do this to you in Lagos, in other states, and then they will pursue you to your own states, to your own east, in Anambra, in Enugu. They will find a way, like the tax law that is coming. Somebody was saying it the other day, you will pay heavy tax on your properties. If you have a big house, you will pay a big tax for that big house. After all, Nigeria is owing the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and so they need to find a way to pay that money. So all those leaders, the money that the government borrows, you will pay that money, from this tax. So people are preaching the tax as if it's a very beautiful thing, a very good thing. A lot of people, they're preaching about the tax, trying to explain to you. They don't know. It's another chain of slavery. A three-letter word from the, I don't want to mention the country, but, people who borrow people money, and people, economic mafias that, forces Nigeria to borrow the money, and then they will continue to reap the gain from you continuously. Like the Bible says, the borrower is a slave to the lender. So Nigeria is a slave to those countries that can borrow us money. But then the leaders borrow the money, but who's going to pay? It's you, most especially you Igbo people that have businesses and have houses. So it's not just that they're going to burn your stuff in Lagos and other places, but they're going to follow you to your own states, even when you go to your states. And then they're going to tax you heavily for your properties and for your businesses and for everything, every transaction you do. So you can't be docile in Nigeria. You can't just keep quiet and pretend like it doesn't concern you. It concerns you. Politics concerns you. What's happening in the world concerns you. Don't just be going to church and not know. At least educate yourself. Know what is going on. Organize yourself and fight back. You have to fight back. You can't just stay quiet, my dear people. We are in a state of emergency. You have to wake up. Igbo people are in a state of emergency, and this is the time for us to wake up and fight for ourselves. Please, if you find this video, please spread it. Spread this message. Send this video to other people. Share it. Each one teach one, and the whole village becomes on the same page. Thank you, and God bless you. I remain your brother and servant, Mr. Metaphysics.